Hey, 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 welcome back to Don't Press Play, the show that dares to peek under the bed, crack open the closet door, and hit play on the movies that you've probably been better off avoiding. I'm your host, Alex, and today fate has brought us together for a fresh cut of terror. That's right, we're talking Final Destination Bloodlines. Now, it's been a minute, I'll admit, I'm feeling a little rusty, but like a twisted roller coaster ride, once it starts, there's no stopping. We're diving headfirst into the sixth installment of the franchise that made us all paranoid about tanning beds, kitchen knives, and poorly secured logs on the highway. So buckle up, death doesn't like to be cheated, and in this episode, we're going to find out if Bloodline brings new life to the series or if it should have stayed buried. Spoilers ahead, obviously, you know the drill, and if you haven't seen it yet, maybe don't press play.
Drinks all around. Family, you don't get to pick the one you get. Just gotta love the one you got.
I always knew this day would come.
I got it.
I don't think you got it.
I held him off for years.
Charlie, get up here.
He's a relentless son of a bitch. Won't stop till he finishes the job. Death is coming for our family.
I said, oh, 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 oh.
Grandma, what's happening to us?
Years ago, I had a premonition that started it all. I saw what death was about to do. I saved a lot of lives that night.
Everyone needs to get off the dance floor!
Lives that were never meant to be saved. But death doesn't like it when you mess with his plans. This book, it will show you everything you need to know to keep our family safe.
It all started with Grandma. Death is coming for us because we were never supposed to exist.
Watch out!
Only by embracing death will it pass you by.
Maybe Death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be crazy.
Good luck.
Okay, so I literally, as I've recorded this episode, it's the 24th of June, and I went to a screening of Final Destination Bloodlines around 11 p.m. today. So it's kind of like my first kind of reaction to just kind of settled. I haven't listened to any other thoughts, feelings, opinions on this film, so it's just going to be like my first reactions to this film. Now, my kind of relationship with Final Destination, I wouldn't say it's kind of like my favorite franchise of all time, but also I'm not like completely new to it. It's not something I've never seen. Absolutely love the first Final Destination. Obviously, anything to do with airplanes, I'm obsessed with anyway. So a Boeing 747 crash in Final Destination had me glued to the screen when I was a child. And then obviously the second one is iconic with the highway pilot, the logs, the weird dentist scenes. So all of that's great. And obviously Final Destination 3 is such a classic horror slasher. Just Final Destination 3 is perfect to me. And then I think that's kind of where I left the franchise. I think number 4 was what was number 4 about? I'm gonna have a Google. I think maybe it was Final Destination 4. What was that one about? It was a 3D one at the racetrack, that's right. And then the 5th one was at the bridge, and the 5th one was actually a prequel to the first one. Got ya. I'm back. So, yeah, I think I remember watching Final Destination 4 And that's kind of where I definitely just kind of fell off. And then the Final Destination 5, I think I remember watching on Netflix years and years after it came out. So I think the franchise was a little bit stagnant to me. So I was a little bit skeptical coming into Foundation 6, because obviously it's the sixth film in the franchise. There hasn't been a film out in so long. I just genuinely thought, if I'm being honest, I thought it's gonna be crap. But I fucking loved this film. I really enjoyed Foundation 6. Going on record, it was fantastic. Just going straight in with it. The opening scene was absolutely like, it was brilliant, and I really loved how things were different this time around. I think they took a risk with kind of setting it in like the 1960s, and how it wasn't I don't know how it wasn't from her perspective, the grandma's perspective, kind of how it wasn't. It was her premonition, but when she wakes up, we expect it to be this girl about to say like, "No, like get off the tower, it's gonna collapse." It's her granddaughter in like a university lecture. Um, so that was done really fantastically, but that kid in the premonition literally had me screaming in the cinema. Not actually screaming, because I'm not disrespectful like that, but he was the most fucking annoying child in the entire universe, and the fact that he caused all these people to die. Uh, where was his death? When that kid was saved, where was his death? That's what I want to know. Did he die as an adult, and was it painful? Did he suffer? I hope so, because what a little fucking shit. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, my initial thoughts of this film were really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It's not something I think I'd watch loads of times, but obviously, as a standalone little flick to go to the cinema and watch, it was so fun. Tony Todd is in this film. I think this was his last film, which is really sad. Rest in peace, icon. But again, Tony Todd, fucking phenomenal, and I really enjoyed how the child in the original premonition would grow up to be Tony Todd, who obviously helps the protagonist in all the other films. Just, I really like that little like tying up together worked really, really fucking well. Yeah, I just had a lot of fun with this film. I do think that it's kind of, I noticed as well, when the trailers for this film were kind of starting up, it was really interesting to see kind of where horror is going at the minute. Um, it's a lot of body horror in the trailers. I put them in my letterbox actually, of kind of what was going on, and it was an interesting shift for horror, because I haven't been to the cinema in so long. I think the last time I went to the cinema before this was probably to watch Anora, which was an absolute fantastic film. But horror-wise, I think, yeah, it was really interesting to compare kind of when the last time I went to the cinema was compared to now. And yeah, I mean, it'll be in my watch list. I watched the trailer for Weapons. That was really interesting. And then it was also the film Together, directed by Michael Shanks. It's all very body horror orientated at the minute in the cinema, which is quite interesting. But there was also a trailer for I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I'm not gonna lie, I've never even seen the first one, and it's probably quite controversial, but there was a trailer for that, and honestly, I hate to break it to you guys, but I feel like the death of prequels is coming. Like, I feel like in a few years' time, we're gonna look back and think, wow, because it's that whole like, oh, I hate to say it, but it's that whole like Scream 5 rehash now of like, oh, tell me what you did last summer, and it was the woman from the first one. Like, I get it, but I think that film was like way too late. If this film had came out when Scream 5 came out, like fair enough. But is it not a bit cringe now? Like, to me, I find it quite cringe. And kind of leaning back into Final Destination 6, and I just think the grandma was a bit Laurie Strode-fied with her like fortress and things like that. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of, if I were to like pinpoint some certain things from this film that I would change, it was that kind of Laurie Strode vibe of like, oh, death's coming for me and I'm this crazy woman. You know what it was giving? It was giving the it was giving Sally from the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where she's the old lady and she's like, Leatherface sees you remember me, and that whole awful showdown. That was what it was giving with this old lady. And when she died, it was just like, ooh. Yeah, and I mean, so that's kind of my only takeaway from, like, a negative side of this film would be it kind of reminded me how cinema and horror at the minute is all about these, like, rebooting of franchises, which is absolutely fine. I think Final Destination 5 did it fantastically, and Final Destinations Bloodlines, I'll just say Bloodlines. I think Bloodlines did it fantastically in rebooting this franchise, but I think it did tiptoe around that kind of reboot vibes. I think what they did amazingly was that this wasn't a character we've met before. I think if it was like one of the people from Final Destination franchise before and she was doing that whole Laurie Strode thing, I think that would have been quite poor taste. But to have a random character do it, it was fine, it worked. However, I would have appreciated if they'd have cooked that in the oven a bit more and maybe not had that in there. But that's mainly because I hate that Laurie Strode trope now of like, I was waiting for him. Mainly because it's been done too many times now. And by too many times, I mean twice. But twice is enough in a horror genre to have that same character type and that same trope of like, woman in a cabin waiting for death to come and get her. I just feel like that was creeping in this film a bit too much. Which was a little bit uncomfortable for me. And another thing as well, my only other slight nitpick was how quickly these characters kind of get over the death of their loved ones. Like in the hospital, there's the MRI scene, which is fucking phenomenal, by the way. The guy's Prince Albert drags him into the MRI scanner. Fucking so good. And then, the other one like has that like allergic reaction and then dies as well, the MRI machine. I'm thinking they're just simply like, okay, we need to go to the cabin. You need to be safe. And I'm thinking, you've just lost so many family members. Is no one in this film traumatized? Is no one like, I need a minute to cry? That's my only. I know, yeah. And also, it kind of the jump between her having this dream and her college friend just waking up next to her being like, you need to go home and find out who your grandma is. And I feel like it progressed the plot a bit too fast for me. And it felt a little bit janky, a little bit like the puzzles weren't fitting there, and I feel like they probably struggled to find a reason for her to go home and investigate this. I feel like if they just worked on that a little bit and tweaked it a tiny amount, I think it would have been a lot stronger. But honestly, they were probably my only two kind of what I took away from that film was like, oh. But I mean, apart from that, I think honestly, as a standalone film, fucking stellar. The main character in this, I'm just gonna grab her name. Caitlin Santajuana, I hope I'm saying that name. She plays Stephanie. She is so amazing in this film. The performance, absolutely incredible, so believable, like perfect. Actually reminds me of just like, well, not sure remind me of. She is this kind of like new age final girl of like fucking badass. I mean, I don't know if this is the thing. So when the film ends, obviously spoiler alert, there's a train crash and the logs come flying through and they both get crushed to death. I don't know if that's the start of another premonition and that's where we're going to get Final Destination 6. If there is going to be 7, sorry. If there's so many fucking films in this franchise. I don't know if that's maybe where it's going to pick up. But I hope so because I absolutely love her character. I think the way her and Theo are together is just so... Or Charlie, sorry. The way her and Charlie are in this film, just so brilliant. It really works well. And I really love the kind of a strange character with their mom. I don't know, to me, it works really, really well. And yeah, they are just like standout performances. And also I think Eric, his performance, he's played by Richard Harmon. He honestly is a standout, I think, of everyone. I think he blew this entire film away. He was so funny. He was so cool. He was so hot. I just loved his character. And when he died, honestly, you could kind of feel it throughout the film of kind of like, I don't know, you could really tell that he was missing from this film. I'm not saying he carried it because obviously, like I said, the final girl in this film, she's so phenomenal, but he definitely helps carry this film. I think his presence is so known there. And Yeah, I think as well. So he was in the first thing we saw from Final Destination. It was his death scene, even though he doesn't die there. Um, and yeah, he obviously was that pinnacle, not pinnacle, but when they released his kind of teaser of like where this film was going, that was kind of the only bit of material I'd seen from this film. So I actually had no idea that it was going to open in like the 1960s. And I was so confused when I was watching this film at first. I was like, I don't know if I'm being like dumb and I just don't get it. Is it meant to be 1960s? But then when I realized what they were doing, I think it was so bold. It was so cool. Um, and yeah, it was just a bit gnarly and a bit different, and I was just really glad they kind of took a chance, and did something a bit different. So yeah, absolutely fucking 10 out of 10 for that. But yeah, I just think it was quite a solid film for a sixth one in the franchise. I think, good for them. I mean, it's a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb and a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that is pretty fucking good. Pretty fucking good. Um, but apparently what I was hearing, for this film as well, when the directors were trying to get the job for this film, they had, like, a Zoom call, and apparently they, like, set up, like, a Final Destination thing in the background where one of them, like, dies or something, and I just think you can kind of really tell that they had a lot of fun with this film. It didn't feel like a cash grab, it didn't feel like Saw 19. um it did feel like there was a lot of love going into this film, which is what I really do enjoy. Um, I can kinda tell, and yeah, all I can say is I hadn't been to the cinema in so long, I'm really glad I did. I'm really glad that I went today. Really enjoyed this film. I think it's made me excited about horror again. It's kinda made me, like, kind of love the direction that horror is going in at the minute. Um I just feel like if more studios can kind of take note and be like, hey, we can make entries into franchises without tying it to legacy characters. Scream! And we can make really good films without having to bring back characters every single time, even though we won't do anything to kill them. Scream. So yeah, I just think studios should take note. And this is by New Line as well, so I'm hoping New Line are like Nightmare on Elm Street, because it had Nightmare on Elm Street vibes to me, the whole like dreaming stuff. So maybe they could get cooking and bring Freddy back. That's what we're all hoping for, right? That's what I'm hoping for. I want Freddy back. Um, but yeah, absolutely. I just think this film was really solid. I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd, mainly because my other two were the whole Jamie Lee Curtis vibe of yeah, the whole metal in the back garden vibes. It was a bit off-putting for me. However, I'm able to kind of let that go because the rest of it was absolutely solid. The deaths in this film, so gnarly, so gross. And yeah, stand out. Cast were great. Scream was great. Soundtrack, banging. Like, the opening death scene, fantastic. I just think, if you haven't seen this film, well, I've just spoiled it for you, so tough luck. But, however, if you are second guessing it, you don't know if you want to go see it, just go and watch this film in the cinema. It's so good. Horror is alive and well in 2025. And I hope there's another one. I really do. Bring up, actually, I don't know. If they do another one and it's the same girl in it, I'll be happy. Um, so yeah, that is all from me on this episode of Don't Press Play. I just kind of wanted to do a Final Destination's Bloodline. Let me know what you guys think of this film. How did you find it? Did you kind of like my little points, little things like that? If you did, let me know in the comments. Follow me on Instagram at Don't Press Play Pod. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Gay Boy. I made that account when I was in high school, and now I can't change the username because I refuse to pay for Patreon because I am poor. Yeah, follow me wherever you listen to your podcasts. Let me know. Leave me a nice review if you want to. But yeah, have fun, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.